Let me place two paintings in front of you and I want you to think which one of these two paintings makes you feel better. It could be a feeling of happiness, joy, warmth, or even comfort. Both of these paintings show humans and both are painted in more or less the same style. Or here's another question. Which painting would you rather hang in your living room if you wanted to make your space a little cozier? If you picked this painting, well, that's fine. You can still watch this video. But if you picked the second one, then you ought to know what made you choose it, right? A simple scene of a subway with people minding their own business. There's nothing too special about it. But the more you look, the more you realize that there's a lot going on here. This painting is called The Subway, and it was made in one of the most difficult times of America. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, a country that just had the best financial decade in the 1920s suddenly finds itself in the most harrowing economical condition. The 20s were called the Roaring Twenties for the economical growth during that period, and the very next decade, people were lining up in the streets just to get a piece of dry bread and some soup. Not only that, but family members had to swap clothes because they could not afford anymore, sleep in park benches, and even eat parts of animals that were usually thrown away. So how can such a warm and happy painting come out during a period of suffering? Well, the idea behind the painting was just that, and it was commissioned by the President of the United States. It was perhaps one of the first times art was used directly to uplift the collective mood of the country, and it worked wonderfully in the most wonderful way possible. Back in the early 1930s, right after the country suffered from the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt got a proposal to allocate some funds to commission large paintings and murals for the federal buildings all across the country. It was a move to make the country look better and improve the mood of people who went through perhaps the worst times of their lives. But allocating funds just to make paintings and murals when the country is already recovering from a financial crisis was almost an impossible thing to get approved. You know, paintings are nice, but not as nice as a plate of food when you're hungry. And there were a lot of hungry people back then. There was a lot of internal friction when it came to spending money for a seemingly pointless purpose. However, Eleanor and Franklin Roosevelt both liked the idea, and $1 million were approved for onboarding artists and giving them employment under the Public Works of Art project. But no one knew that the most famous painting from this initiative would come from the most unlikely artist. Only a few years ago, in 1927, a woman took a boat from Hungary to Los Angeles to work as an artist. Lily Furedi was a young immigrant who mentioned her occupation to be a painter in the official immigration papers. She knew what she wanted to do, and it was to make beautiful paintings. In 1934, she joined the Public Works of Art project to get employment and also try to show New York from her eyes. The project was simple. Artists were asked to paint something that shows the American scene, something that brings out the bright moments in dark times. But how would an immigrant who has only been in the country for just 7 years capture the essence of living in America? Perhaps Lily just wanted to paint and show a scene that would connect with people. But what happened next was the most astounding and heartwarming thing that could happen to an artist. The scene is very simple yet very powerful. The painting depicts a subway car filled with people of different races and economic backgrounds. But when you look closely, you find that it's not just about the outward appearance, but something deeper. Happy, sad, busy, free, active and tired, alone, together. The artist has included so much in such a small space, yet she ensured that you can rest your eyes, but the scene is happening and interesting enough that it keeps your eyes looking for the next thing. If you have seen how the subway of New York looks like today, this is certainly not a picture that would come to mind. The reason why things look different here is because the New York subway system had just started a few years ago, and this specific coach was made only a couple of years before this painting was made. So what's going on in this scene? The short answer would be a lot, and that would end the video right there. We won't be doing that. So let's take a closer look at the different faces here and there and what they're up to. Let's start from this corner with these two women talking about something interesting. You can see that this one is smiling and she is quite into the conversation. What these people are doing might seem like a simple thing, but it plays a very important role in the overall meaning and message of the painting. At the back, we have a violin player who, judging by his clothes, might either be going to work or coming back from it. Let's assume that he's coming back because he's not high on the energy level. Lily's father was a cello player, and this might just be a nod at that. Right next to him, we have a man of Asian descent. Again, the ethnicity of these people matter for a reason. I'll explain that in the end of the video. He is busy reading something, completely unbothered by the crowd and the conversations. Here we have two lovebirds completely lost in themselves. But the look of their eyes and the fact that they are practically exchanging breaths, it seems like they're going in for a kiss. This is such a lovely moment. I hope no one looks at them with a disapproving look. Oh, it seems like this lady here is not too happy about the couple. Ma'am, you should be more like this guy, busy reading his newspaper. Or maybe like this guy who's just sleeping, or maybe not. I think he's on the verge of passing out. Just hang in there, buddy. There's also this worker here, completely ignoring this man. I don't blame him. He's busy pasting bills and earning some money. You can also note a contrast between these two men. You know, one is working and one is, not working. On the left side of the canvas, this man is probably asking the seated man to shift a little so that he can sit as well. This gentleman in this fine suit is reading a newspaper, while the woman next to him is trying to take a sneak peek. Maybe something interesting on the paper? Or she might just be admiring the suit. Here, we see a woman putting on lipstick. Maybe she is going to meet someone special. Clearly, this guy does not get a hint. You can see how he's looking at her, although not sure what he's looking at. But he's definitely looking at the woman, and the expression on his face makes me think that he clearly does not have innocent thoughts about it. The reason why there are a lot of people here, and of different ethnicities, is because Lily wanted to show the everyday crowd of New York. Instead of showing a grand building or a famous landmark, she chose to show something that she saw every day. Here's the best part. Out of the hundreds of paintings that were submitted, this was one of the 25 paintings that was selected to be a gift for the White House. And it was Mr. and Mrs. Roosevelt who selected it as one of the best paintings in the entire show. It's brilliant how someone who did not even live in New York her entire life was able to capture the essence of living in this city. The painting almost transports you back in that time, feeling the slow and hopeful rise of the economy. But the scene is just one part of the painting. There is another reason why this painting gives off that soothing, warm effect, and it has to do with the color palette. Colors tell the story, and the artist has used warm tones all over the canvas to give this painting the same effect. But what are warm tones? Well, any color that resembles the shade of fire can be considered warm. I know this is not the exact definition, but this is also not a video for it. So I'm sending things in a nutshell. The floor makes things feel warm, so does this man's suit. And while there are these women who are wearing dresses of blue shade, it's all very muted. This shade also adds a sense of calmness to the scene. Add this beautiful glow that resembles the sunlight and you have this cozy scene, a place where you'd want to sit. When it comes to the art style, you cannot help but notice the influence of the most popular American artist of that time, Edward Hopper. There is also a hint of Paul Cézanne's art style, but the majority is Hopper. And it makes sense. Hopper was also making paintings showing the everyday life of New York. However, instead of showing the sterile silence and loneliness, Lily has tried to show that even though people are busy doing their own thing in a crowd, there's still a bit of involvement here and there. There is also a great contrast between the routine life and something unexpected. Here this man is busy with his work, while these two ladies are probably gossiping about something interesting. Lily showed a scene that was being played every day in New York. It was a mix of calm and chaos, a sense of closeness, and a warm glow of hope. It also goes to show that sometimes you just have to sit and relax and notice whatever is going on in front of you, because even in the chaotic, all the time, there are moments of comfort. And that was all about the painting and this beautiful scene it showed. If you liked the video or the painting, then consider giving it a like. And if you really liked everything, then why don't you subscribe? There are more great videos to come. You don't want to miss that. Till we meet next time, have a great day ahead.